Have you ever felt like time will always be there? That tomorrow is just waiting for you, so there's no need to rush today? That's exactly what a boy named Aaron believed. He thought life was long. He thought there would always be another morning, another chance, another tomorrow. But one day life proved him wrong, and the lesson he learned came too late. Stay with me because this story may sound like his, but in many ways, it could also be yours. Aaron was an ordinary boy, just like many others you've seen. He was 16 with a wide smile, messy hair, and a laugh that filled the air. He loved cricket, he loved music, and he loved spending hours with his friends. But there was one thing Aaron didn't love: responsibility, schoolwork, always left for later. Chores. He would skip them saying, "I'll do it tomorrow." Helping his father in the shop, he would make excuses. Aaron's life was one big later. Every morning when his alarm rang, Aaron hit the snooze button. He pulled the blanket over his head and whispered, "Just 5 more minutes." But those 5 minutes often turned into an hour. By the time he got up, he had already wasted half the morning. And yet Aaron never felt guilty. Why should he? He was young, he had his whole life ahead of him. At least that's what he told himself. His father, a hard-working man with silver hair starting to show, often warned him. "Aaron," he would say, "time is the only thing you'll never get back. Money can be earned again. Friends will come and go. But once a day is gone, it's gone forever." Aaron would laugh it off. "Relax, Dad. I'm just a kid. I've got plenty of time." His father would sigh, shake his head, and return to his work. He had learned through his own struggles how precious time was. But Aaron was not ready to listen. The truth is, Aaron wasn't lazy because he didn't care. He had dreams. He wanted to be a writer. He wanted to travel, to see places beyond his little town, to make his parents proud one day. But he believed those dreams could wait. He believed the future was like a book waiting for him to open it whenever he felt ready. So he scrolled on his phone, played games late into the night, and laughed with friends until the stars came out. And day after day, his tomorrow slipped quietly into yesterday. There was one person who understood him more than anyone: his grandfather, an old man with gentle eyes and a soft voice, who spent evenings sitting on the porch, watching the sunset. Aaron loved sitting with him, listening to his stories. One evening, as the golden sky faded into deep blue, his grandfather took out a pocket watch. It was old, scratched at the edges, yet it gleamed under the fading light. "This watch," the old man said, "was given to me when I was young by my father. He told me something I never forgot." Aaron leaned closer. "What did he say?" His grandfather smiled sadly. He said, "Every tick is your life. With every tick, you lose a second you'll never get back, so use it well." Aaron looked at the watch, but he didn't feel its weight. He chuckled. "Grandpa, that's so serious, I'm not even 20 yet. I'll worry about that when I'm old like you." His grandfather's eyes softened with sadness. "One day, boy, you'll understand." Aaron shrugged and went back to his phone, unaware of how close that one day truly was. Time kept moving. Exams came and went. Aaron didn't study much, so his grades were always low. His parents worried, but Aaron brushed it off. "There's always next year," he said. "Always tomorrow." He missed small chances, like learning a skill, helping his father in the shop, even spending precious hours with his family. But in his mind, these chances would always return, until life decided to teach him the truth. It was a Sunday evening. The air was quiet, the sun dipping low behind the hills. Aaron was lying on his bed, earphones in, scrolling endlessly on his phone. He didn't notice the faint knock on his door. It was his mother. Her voice was soft but uneasy. "Aaron, your father isn't feeling well. Can you come help?" Aaron pulled out one earbud and frowned. "He's fine, Mom. He's always tired after work. Let him rest." He slipped the earbud back in, thinking it was nothing. But just a few hours later, everything changed. That night, as the family sat down for dinner, Aaron's father suddenly clutched his chest. His spoon fell to the floor. His face turned pale, his breathing heavy. "Aaron!" his mother screamed. "Call the ambulance!" The boy froze. His hands shook as he grabbed his phone. In that single moment, all the laziness, all the wasted time, all the excuses, none of them mattered anymore. Fear gripped him harder than anything he had ever felt. The ambulance arrived, sirens screaming through the night. Aaron sat in the back, watching his father struggle to breathe, holding his hand as tears streamed down his face. For the first time, he realized how fragile life was, how time could vanish in an instant. At the hospital, machines beeped. Doctors rushed, and Aaron felt helpless. He sat in the waiting area, staring at the clock on the wall. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Every second felt louder, heavier. Each tick reminded him of his grandfather's words. "Every tick is your life. With every tick you lose a second you'll never get back." Aaron bowed his head into his hands and whispered, "Why didn't I listen? Why did I waste so much time?" Hours passed. Finally, the doctor came out. His expression was serious but calm. "Your father is stable now. It was a heart attack, but he's going to recover if he takes care." Relief washed over Aaron like a wave, but that relief came with a heavy weight. He had almost lost the man who worked day and night for him, and he realized time hadn't just been wasted on games and laziness. It had been stolen from his father, his mother, his family. The next morning, Aaron sat by his father's hospital bed. The room was quiet, sunlight slipping through the blinds. His father opened his eyes slowly, weak but awake. Aaron leaned closer, his voice breaking. "Dad, I'm sorry. I should have been there more. I should have listened." His father's lips curled into a faint smile. With trembling hands, he reached into the bedside drawer and pulled something out. It was the old pocket watch, the same one Aaron's grandfather had shown him. He placed it in Aaron's palm and whispered, "Son, you think you have time, but you don't. One day, it runs out. Don't waste it." Those words pierced Aaron's heart like never before. This time, they weren't just words. They were a warning, a plea, a truth he could no longer ignore. That night, Aaron sat alone at his desk. The hospital smell still clung to his clothes, and his father's weak smile haunted his thoughts. In his hand, the pocket watch ticked steadily. Tick, tick, tick. He stared at it for hours. Each tick echoed in his chest. Tick, you are alive. Tick, another moment gone. Tick, will you use it or waste it? For the first time in his life, Aaron understood the weight of time. And with that understanding came fear. Fear of how much he had already thrown away. He thought about the mornings he had wasted in bed, the evenings he spent scrolling on his phone instead of talking to his parents, the days he told himself, tomorrow, the exams he could have done better in, the dreams he had written down but never chased. And suddenly his chest felt heavy. He whispered into the night, "I can't get those days back. I can't get them back." Tears slipped down his face as the reality hit him. He had been living as if tomorrow was guaranteed, but tomorrow is never promised. Aaron barely slept. By sunrise, he was still at his desk, the watch clutched tightly in his hand. As the first light of morning filled the room, he made a silent promise. No more excuses. No more wasted days. I'll change. I have to. The next day, Aaron walked through the hospital corridor with steady steps. The smell of disinfectant filled the air. Machines beeped softly from nearby rooms, and his heart beat faster with every step. He reached his father's ward, holding the pocket watch tightly in his hand. When he entered, his father looked up from the bed. He was pale, weak, but his eyes carried a quiet strength. Aaron sat down beside him, trying to hide the tears that burned his eyes. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence felt heavy, filled with all the unsaid words between them. Finally, Aaron broke it. "Dad," he whispered, his voice shaking, "I don't deserve your patience. I wasted so much time. I ignored you. I thought I had forever." His father reached out with trembling fingers and placed them gently on Aaron's hand. "No, son," he said softly. "You're still here. You still have time. Don't waste the days you're given. That's all I ask." Those words struck Aaron deeper than anything ever had. It wasn't anger. It wasn't disappointment. It was love and hope. Aaron leaned forward, holding his father's hand tightly. "I promise you," he said, choking on the words, "I will not waste another day. Not one." Tears rolled down his cheeks, and for the first time in years he truly felt the weight of his father's presence, his sacrifices, his lessons. This was no longer just about him. This was about honoring the people who loved him, the life he had been given, and the dreams he had buried under excuses. That night, when Aaron returned home, he didn't go straight to his phone. He didn't sink into the chair or grab the remote. Instead, he placed the pocket watch on his desk and stared at it. Tick, tock, tick, tock. The sound was no longer background noise. It was alive. It was a reminder. Every tick was a question. What will you do with me? He opened a notebook and wrote down his dreams. Not vague wishes, but real clear goals. Finish his studies properly. Help his mother with the house. Be there for his father's recovery. And one day, build the life he had once only imagined. The first morning of change was not easy. His alarm rang at 6. For a moment, his old self whispered, "Just 10 more minutes." But then he looked at the watch on his desk. The second hand moved forward without waiting. And he remembered his father's words. "You think you have time, but you don't." Aaron sat up, pushed away the covers, and got out of bed. For the first time in years, he didn't start the day with his phone. He started it with purpose. The days that followed were a battle. Habits don't die easily. The urge to waste time pulled at him like quicksand. Sometimes he stumbled. Sometimes he fell back into old patterns. But every time he would hear it, the steady tick of the pocket watch, and he would remember that each second was a gift. Each second mattered. Slowly, things began to change. He studied with focus instead of distraction. He helped his mother without being asked. He sat beside his father and talked, really talked, listening to the stories he once ignored. And with every small step, Aaron felt lighter, stronger, more alive. Weeks later, Aaron returned to school with a new energy. His teachers noticed the difference. His friends were surprised. Some laughed, thinking it wouldn't last. But Aaron didn't care anymore. He wasn't chasing their approval. He was chasing time. Every assignment finished, every hour spent wisely, felt like a victory. He wasn't perfect, he still made mistakes, but he was no longer drifting through life. He was steering it. One evening, as the sun set outside his window, Aaron sat at his desk, books open, pen in hand. The pocket watch ticked beside him. He looked at it and smiled. The sound no longer scared him. It motivated him. He whispered to himself, "This is my life. I won't waste it again." Back at the hospital, his father's health improved little by little. Each time Aaron visited, he brought not just flowers or fruit, but stories. Stories of what he had accomplished that week. Small things, but meaningful. "I finished my paper early. I helped Mom with the bills. I read a book instead of wasting time." And each time his father's eyes glistened with quiet pride. It was a pride deeper than words, because he knew his son had finally understood. This was Aaron's turning point, the moment where wasted days ended and real living began. And all it took was one lesson, one frightening, painful moment to finally open his eyes. Weeks turned into months, and Aaron's life was no longer the same. He was still the same boy on the outside, same hoodie, same smile. But something inside him had shifted forever. The boy who once wasted hours scrolling, sleeping, and drifting now woke up each day with a sense of urgency. Every morning when the alarm rang, he remembered that pocket watch. He would whisper to himself, "Today counts." His grades improved slowly but surely. Teachers who had nearly given up on him began to notice his focus. One of them even said, "Aaron, I don't know what changed, but I'm proud of you." Those words meant more to him than he could ever explain. At home, things felt different too. He spent more time with his mother, helping with chores, listening to her stories, sharing laughter over small things. She often looked at him with surprise, as if she were seeing her son come back to life. And his father, still weak, still healing, watched from his hospital bed with a heart full of gratitude. Every visit from Aaron wasn't just about medicine or updates. It was about connection. Aaron would sit by his father, holding his hand, telling him how he had spent the week. "I started a journal. Dad, I studied for 3 hours today. I helped Mom fix the garden." Each sentence felt like proof that time was finally being honored. But let me be honest with you, Change isn't easy. Aaron struggled many times. There were mornings when the old temptation whispered again, just a little more sleep. There were evenings when his phone called out like a siren, pulling him back into endless scrolling. And sometimes he gave in, sometimes he slipped. But here's the difference. He no longer let one mistake turn into a wasted week. He always returned to the ticking of that watch. Its steady beat reminded him that life doesn't pause when you do. Time never waits. One rainy evening, Aaron sat alone at his desk watching droplets run down the window. He opened the wooden box, took out the golden pocket watch, and held it against his palm. The sound of ticking filled the quiet room. Tick, another second gone. Tick, another chance to act. Tick, life is moving forward. He thought about all the time he had already lost. It hurt. But then he reminded himself of something important. You cannot bring back yesterday, but you can still choose today. That's what matters. Slowly, Aaron began to build habits. He planned his days. He studied with focus. He set aside time to talk with his parents, to walk outside, to appreciate the small things he once ignored. And the most beautiful part? He began to dream again. Not empty dreams spoken carelessly, but real goals written on paper. He wanted to build something meaningful. He wanted to be someone his father could be proud of. He wanted to leave behind regret and walk into a future of purpose. Friends noticed the change. Some were inspired, others teased him. "Why are you trying so hard now?" They laughed, but Aaron only smiled. He knew they didn't understand yet. Maybe one day they would, because until you felt the weight of wasted time, you don't realize how heavy it truly is. Months later, Aaron's father was finally well enough to come home. The day he returned, Aaron stood by the door, pocket watch in his hand. When his father stepped inside, frail but smiling, Aaron hugged him tightly. "Welcome home, Dad," he whispered. And his father, with tears in his eyes, replied, "It's good to be home, son. And it's good to see the man you're becoming." That night, Aaron sat at his desk once more. The watch ticked beside him, but for the first time it didn't sound like a warning. It sounded like music, steady, constant, alive. Every tick was no longer just a reminder of time passing. It was a reminder of life being lived. And here's where I want to speak directly to you, my friend. Because Aaron's story isn't just about Aaron. It's about all of us. How many times have you said, "I'll start tomorrow"? How many dreams are waiting because you told yourself there's still time? But the truth is, tomorrow isn't promised. Time is slipping away even as you listen to this story. The seconds pass. The minutes pass. You don't get them back. So don't wait for a crisis to wake you up. Don't wait for regret to open your eyes. Learn from Aaron's journey. Learn from the ticking of the watch. Every day counts. Every choice matters. The lesson is simple but powerful. You can't control how much time you're given, but you can control how you use it. You can waste it on things that leave you empty, or you can spend it on things that build your future, strengthen your relationships, and give meaning to your life. Aaron once thought he had forever, but he learned too late that time is precious. Don't make the same mistake. Don't waste the gift you have right now. Start small. Write one goal. Take one step. Make one change today. Because when you add them up, those small choices become the story of your life. And trust me, that's a story you want to be proud of. So here we are, at the end of Aaron's journey. But let me ask you something. As you listened, did you see yourself in him? Did you feel those wasted hours, those lost chances, those moments when you said, "I'll do it later"? Because the truth is, Aaron's story is not just a story, it's a mirror. When you look closely, maybe you see your own reflection. Think about it. How many mornings have you pressed snooze, telling yourself 10 more minutes? How many evenings have disappeared into scrolling and endless distractions? How many dreams have you postponed, waiting for the right time? But the right time is not next year. It's not next month. It's not even tomorrow. The right time is now. Aaron realized it when it was almost too late. He learned that time is the one thing you can't earn back. You can lose money and earn it again. You can lose friends and find new ones. But once a day is gone, it never returns. And maybe that's why time is life's greatest treasure. Because it teaches us urgency. It teaches us to act. It teaches us to live awake, not asleep. So here's my invitation to you. Don't just nod and move on after this video ends. Do something. Take one step, however small. If you have been delaying your studies, open the book tonight. If you've been putting off a dream, write down the first step right now. If you've been distant from someone you love, send them a message today. Don't wait. Don't waste. Because one day, just like Aaron, you may hold a moment that shakes your soul. But wouldn't it be better to learn the lesson now, while you still have time? And let me remind you of this. Time itself is not the enemy. It's the greatest gift you've ever been given. The real question is, what will you do with it? Will you drift through the hours, letting them slip silently away? Or will you treat each moment like the precious jewel it is? The choice is in your hands, and every tick of the clock is asking you the same thing. What story are you writing with your time? So my friend, don't let your life be a tale of regret. Let it be a story of action, growth, and purpose. Start today, because every second counts. And remember, your future self is waiting, hoping, depending on the choices you make right now.